So, in 1884, representatives from 14 European nations gathered in Germany for the Berlin Conference. No African leaders were invited. Over a few months, they literally carved up the continent among themselves. They drew lines on maps, often with little to no knowledge of the geography, the cultures, the languages, or the existing kingdoms and societies on the ground. Imagine this: you have two villages that have been rivals for centuries. A European diplomat, thousands of miles away, draws a line, and suddenly, you're citizens of the same new country. Your enemies are now your countrymen. Now imagine another scenario: your community, your family, your ethnic group has lived in a region for generations. Suddenly, a new border cuts right through your homeland. Half of your people are now in one country, the other half in another. You're separated by an artificial line, subject to different laws, different governments. This is exactly what happened all across Africa. The borders of modern African nations rarely reflect the ethnic, linguistic, or religious realities on the ground. The concept of a nation-state, with a unified identity tied to a specific territory, was a European idea forced upon a continent with entirely different social structures. This created instant internal tension. Groups with long histories of conflict were forced to coexist, competing for power and resources within these new, artificial states. Meanwhile, cohesive cultural groups were split apart, their power diminished, their identities fractured. The result? Decades of civil wars, ethnic conflicts, and political instability. When these colonies gained independence in the mid-20th century, they inherited these illogical borders. The newly formed governments often struggled to create a sense of national unity among diverse and sometimes hostile groups. Power vacuums were filled by strongmen, and military coups became common. The struggle to control the state and its resources, often concentrated in the hands of one ethnic group, fueled endless cycles of violence. They lumped together different religious and ethnic groups, the Sunni, Shia, Kurds, into a single state called Iraq, with little regard for their historical animosities. They drew the borders of Syria, Lebanon, and what would become Jordan, all designed to serve British and French strategic interests, not the interests of the people living there. The consequences have been catastrophic. The artificial nature of these states has been a major factor in the region's ongoing conflicts, from the Iran-Iraq War to the rise of extremist groups like ISIS, who explicitly called for the end of the Sykes-Picot borders. The Kurdish people, a distinct ethnic group with their own language and culture, were left stateless, split among four different countries: Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran. Their struggle for self-determination continues to this day, a direct result of lines drawn a century ago. So the next time you see those straight lines on a map, remember they aren't just lines. They are the scars of history. They represent a colonial legacy where the futures of millions were decided by a few powerful men with a map and a ruler who cared more about power and resources than about people. This simple act of drawing lines created a world of chaos that we are all still grappling with. It's a powerful reminder that geography isn't just about places on a map, it's about people, culture, and history. Thank you for watching. If you found this interesting, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories about how our world came to be.